Wow. Thank you. Judy, that is so kind of you. Thank you so much for that very, very generous introduction. Thank you, Fenway, for this incredible recognition. It's a real honor to receive any recognition in the world as a lesbian. And it's a special honor to receive it from sort of my hometown group, Fenway, and also from Judy, who I respect so much. She's a really brilliant, brilliant woman. Thank you all for being here. We are, all of us, formed by our early influences, and Boston's LGBT movement was my schooling ground. The great American and lesbian feminist poet Adrienne Rich, who died 3 days ago, captured the spirit of the movement into which I came out here in Boston. In her 1976 masterpiece, 21 Love Poems, she wrote, "The rules break like a thermometer. Quicksilver spills across the charted systems. We're out in a country that has no language, no laws. Whatever we do together is pure invention. The maps they gave us were out of date by years." Well, friends, that's what we are together as an LGBT community. Everything we've done is uncharted. There were no maps, there was no language, and there were so many hostile laws arrayed against us over these past 30 years. To refuse the compulsory heterosexuality to which we were all channeled, and to begin to create openly lesbian, bisexual, transgender, gay lives as women and men was an act of pure invention. I love that about us. 2 weeks ago, a gay man told my partner, Kate Clinton, that he had never really understood how important reproductive freedom was to LGBT rights until the recent hullabaloo about Planned Parenthood and invasive vaginal sonograms. He said he finally got it, that this fight was about the social and political control of women's freedom and women's sexual agency, and not just a moral argument about when life begins. As Kate told me that story, I wondered to what extent the leading organizations and funders of the LGBT movement would agree that issues like reproductive freedom, violence against women, women earning less than men, or expanding the definition of family in welfare programs to enable low-income families with kids to be covered, whether those issues would be seen as important issues for the LGBT movement. For millions of lesbians, economic justice, addressing racism, and winning fair treatment as women are still issues that matter a great deal. But these and many other feminist concerns remain on the periphery of the movement that we as lesbians have helped to build. What gets to be on, or what is held off the LGBT movement's agenda, is a question of power and who has it. Are lesbians powerful enough as members, as leaders and donors in the LGBT movement to demand that the movement we have built and the politicians that we have helped elect stand strongly and defend us as women? The answer, my friends, sadly, is no. Lesbians comprise fewer than 40% of the boards of the 40 largest national organizations in the LGBT movement. And we're a much, much smaller number of the major donors to any of the groups in our community. At the political decision-making tables, at the meetings that I've attended as a lesbian leader, where key strategies are set, lesbians are grossly underrepresented. And to most political leaders in the mainstream, we are invisible or indistinguishable from our gay brothers. 2 weeks ago, a New York Times story about the upcoming political outgiving conference was titled, quote, "Gay Donors, Key Group for Obama to Plot Strategy in Washington." In the article's title and content, the fact that gay meant male was just taken for granted. You know what? The article was not an anomaly. The public face and the voice of the LGBT movement has once again become dominated not by an LGBT leadership, but by gay male voices. Again and again, unless a lesbian politician is quoted or a lesbian comedian or celebrity is present, lesbians are just not mentioned. And I saw that again today in today's New York Times, where there's a lovely review or discussion about Adrienne Rich as a poet, which doesn't even mention that she was a lesbian. I mean, it's unbelievable. There are two major national lesbian organizations in this country: the National Center for Lesbian Rights and the Estrella National Foundation for Justice. These are wonderful, amazing groups, and they deserve the support of everybody in this room. And yet they struggle for funds every day. And their size is tiny compared to the much larger lifestyle lesbian infrastructure that now exists. What am I talking about? You know it: Dinah Shore, the NCAA finals, the NBA women's basketball games, the cruises, the circuit parties. You know, I'm not against having a good time, and anyone who knows me can attest to that. And these gatherings organize tens of thousands of lesbians, but they aspire to no greater purpose than a hangover. I'm preaching here. These largely, painfully to me, depoliticized spaces leave the lesbians who participate in them oblivious of how important your leadership can be and is to the broader movement. And by doing that, by depoliticizing those spaces, they leave us disempowered in the larger political sphere. Now, there might be reasons for gaps in lesbian giving and participation. I mean, I'm a data nerd like Judy, so yes, women do earn less than men. If we have wealth, our families of origin sometimes disable us from controlling it. Many of us have kids and many different kinds of caregiving responsibilities that demand our attention and our resources. We do have to work harder to make our careers a success as women. These reasons are all valid, but they can no longer be our excuses. Lesbians must step up and step out politically and philanthropically. The time and the need and the urgency is now. A new moment. It is. A new moment of opportunity is upon us. Tammy Baldwin is running for US Senate, and if she's elected from Wisconsin, she would become the first openly lesbian or gay or bisexual or transgender person to be elected to the United States Senate, and she has a really good chance if we support her. Christine Quinn will be running for mayor of New York next year, and if elected, will become the first woman to hold that office in the city of New York. Anise Parker is already the mayor of Houston, the 5th largest city in the United States, and she's going to run for re-election in 2 years. Scores of other outstanding lesbian and lesbian-supportive feminist candidates, both men and women, are fighting to win against deeply reactionary opponents. The time is now for us to get involved because a new wave of attacks on women's rights and on people of color is also upon us. The anti-immigrant bashing of recent years, the high incidence of racially motivated violence against people of color, the excessive criminalization of certain populations, and the racist policies of the right wing demand our attention. Like everyone in this room, I care deeply about non-discrimination. I have given my life to working for LGBT equal rights, for rights like marriage equality, for parenting rights. I care deeply about these issues. But I also care passionately about LGBT people who are parts of the communities being vilified in today's toxic mainstream politics. I care about women and gender nonconforming people being free from violence. I care about ensuring that my womb and gay men's sexual freedom is not regulated by the likes of Rick Santorum. I care about ensuring that gender and race-based income inequality ends once and for all. That's why I'm here to use the platform that you have given me through this amazing award to urge every one of you who can hear me, every lesbian, especially every bisexual woman, every gay man who's here, thank you, every straight ally, every transgender person in this room, to do more than we're already doing. We, lesbians, bisexual women, and transgender women, and the feminist men who love us, must stand up for ourselves and each other politically, now more than ever. I urge you to change the statistics on lesbian leadership on boards of directors, inside and outside the LGBT movement. Take power of institutions, take them over, right now. I ask each of you who has been so generous over the years and tonight, I ask each of you who has found success and comfort in business and in life as I have, who is prosperous, to give back even more. Let us all become ever more generous politically and philanthropically. We can give more to Fenway. They need it. We can give more to the lesbian organizations. And I ask us all to do something we have not yet done as lesbians, to organize ourselves into a political force that cannot be ignored. We need a lesbian political mobilization, friends, now, in 2012, now more than ever. We need to organize lesbians, bisexual women, and transgender women from the lifestyle sides of our movement, and the political sides, and the service sector sides, and the community center sides of our movement, to become a new national power, to influence the political agenda of our movement so that it's more feminist, it's pro-social, racial, and economic justice. And friends, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And I want you to stay tuned, because I am very proud to be working with a small group of lesbians around the country to make some of the ideas that I'm talking about a reality. Stay tuned for some news coming. As Adrienne Rich wrote, the connections between and among women are the most feared, the most problematic, don't we know that? And the most potentially transforming force on the planet. I love being a lesbian. I love it. I love my diverse LGBT and allied communities. I love our courage. I love our invention. And I am confident that as lesbians get more powerful, a different politics can begin to be raised at the tables of political power. Thank you so much for this recognition, and thank you for your support of Fenway.